Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Marius Palimariu, and today I will talk to you about how to build a modern CI/CD pipeline with Google Kubernetes Engine, GitlabCI, and HELM. Some words about me. So I'm a senior DevOps engineer at Verne Global, and I'm really passionate about automation, solution architecture, cloud, and DevOps. So the main goals and principle for what I'm trying to show you here today is to have everything as code and automate all what you can, and you should never stop doing this. And we really like GitLab because it's a complete solution for all the entire software lifecycle. So yeah, they allow you to go from idea to production. So before introducing the agenda, I would like to raise your hands if you use Kubernetes for your application deployments in production. You ever use GitlabCI? And you use Helm charts for Kubernetes application deployments. That's very good. OK, so today we will have the first part with the theory, where we will see the big picture of the implementation. We will go through the Terraform source code that I will be using. We will review the GitlabCI file and the Helm chart template. Then we will have a live demo where we will provision development and production GKE cluster with Terraform. Then we will add this new created cluster to GitLab groups. And yeah, we will have application deployment in staging, and we will promote this application change to production, and will be deployed on the production cluster. So this is the setup architecture. So we are using Google Cloud Platform, and we want to have multi-environment. So the best practice is to keep your environments separate into different projects. And yeah, we will have DevInfra project for our development, and a dedicated production project for our production. And yeah, since will be a complete demo with a pipeline, I will have a demo domain which is registered on Cloudflare, and yeah. So on the GitLab side, how does it work? So the developer will push his changes, which will trigger the GitLab CI. The GitLab CI have defined a workflow, and this workflow will be run by a GitLab runner, which will use Helm. So based on the environment scope that is defined on the GitLab, the application will be deployed on the development cluster or the production cluster. So we want to use Terraform even for the project creation, and for doing this, we will use Terraform. So, just 1 second. Yes? Is it good? So I already created this project, so I will only run a Terraform plan to show you. And for having a multi environment, we will also want to keep the code separate, and Terraform allowed this by using the workspaces. So we will be using Terraform workspaces. So we have a workspace for our dev infra cluster and a workspace for our production. So looking at the Google Cloud Platform dashboard, we can see our two projects, and we use a dedicated project for Terraform where we have the service account, and we keep the state on a Google storage bucket. Okay. So we do the same also for production. So Terraform workspace, select production. This will switch to the production workspace. And we do a Terraform plan. And we see that it's proficient. So now for deploying the GKE cluster, we will be doing it same with Terraform, and we want to have a good structure and not keeping a monolith repo, and this is why I'm using Terraform modules. So I'm splitting every function into a separate Terraform module. So if you look at the main file, we can see that we have defined the Google provider, that we use GCS for the remote state, and like modules, we will be creating a VPC. So we will define a subnet into that VPC. We will create some firewall rules for allowing ingress access. And we will have to create a service account which will be used for the integration with GitLab. And finally, we have the GKE module. So since we want to keep everything as code, we are also defining some null resource where we can actually run some local exec. And what I'm using this for is for installing the Helm with Tiller, for configuring the cert manager, for configuring the Nginx ingress control, for creating the GitLab service account. Yeah, I'm also I will need the ingress controller IP, and on the newly created cluster, we will also need to create some namespaces. So now I will run. Now I will run Terraform apply, and I will deploy the development environment. So Terraform. Let's check first if we are on the right workspace. So as we can see, this will create the firewall rules. We'll create the cluster. We'll apply all our post-deployment tasks. We'll create the service account, the subnetwork, and the VPC. So finger crossed, and let's create a cluster. So we can visualize this on the dashboard also. Now on the GitLab side, once the Kubernetes cluster will be created, we will add the cluster. So GitLab comes also with the Auto DevOps feature where you can deploy the cluster directly from GitLab, but it's not what we want to do here. So we want to add an existing cluster. So once the cluster will be deployed, we will get the master API URL, the CA certificate, and a token that we have generated. So this normally takes about 2 minutes, I believe. So in the meantime, probably I can show you the domain. So for the demo purpose, I will be using this cloudcube.icu. Don't ask me what ICU stands for. I can only tell that it costed me $1 per year. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, we have the demo application, and this will point to the Ingress controller Google load balancer. And yeah, once the cluster is deployed, I will get that IP and I will update this 8 record, and this will point to my demo website. So what else we need is to define some environment variables inside GitLab. So GitLab authenticates against GKE. So for this reason, we have to define the cluster name, the project, the zone, and we will have to create a service account for each cluster. And yeah, we need also we will be using the registry from GitLab, so we will need a secret for this. So yeah, now we are running the post deployments tasks. So installing the Nginx Ingress controller, Helm, Cert Manager for generating certificates. Okay, maybe I can show you the application. So this will be the application. I'm not sure I will have time to deploy also the production environment. This is why I'm keeping production. So demo.cloudcube.icu, it's deployed on production, and here we can actually see the name of the pods that are serving the traffic requests. And what I will be doing when the cluster is deployed, I will change this color to a new color in staging, and then I will promote this to production. So yeah, it's almost completed. And here it is. So now we will have to define the new cluster. So let's put the service account token. Oh, sorry. So this will be the dev infra, and the environment scope will be the staging. So now we have also our dev infra cluster, which have like environment scope the staging. And here we have the IP of the load balancer. So we want to take this IP and update our A record. So our staging dash demo will be pointing here. Okay, so before doing this change, let's have a look on the GitlabCI file. So explain a bit how the workflow in the GitlabCI works. So like stages, we will have a validation where we validate the Helm chart. We will build our Docker image, we will deploy the image, and we will check that the deployment was done. And as we can see here, so yeah, I'm using the Git flow where the master is deploying to staging, and then I will have a production branch which will be deployed on the environment production. So let's see if this works. So we want to change the color. This color from yellow to, I don't know, green. Oops. Okay, and this should trigger our pipeline. So if we go back here, pipelines, we actually see that the GitLab runner started. So yeah, after this pipeline is completed, we should actually have staging-demo.cloudcube.icu. So yeah, if we go here, oh, we can see our GKE cluster that was deployed. Okay, so this deployment is done on the dev-infra cluster. Okay, so we should see our pods. So I have multiple clusters, and I have some alias for doing a list and activate on the specific cluster. Okay, so we can see our pods. And hopefully also our page. Oh, no. So sometimes it takes in between 1 or 10 minutes to update the IP of the load balancer. So I hope. Here it is. So now let's do the merge request and push this in production. So we want the master branch to be branched in production. Okay, I would say yes and merge. So yeah, this will trigger the pipeline, which will have like environment scope the production. So this will go and deploy into the production cluster. So our production cluster, which is this one. And yeah, after it's deployed, we should see the same color. So let's have a look also at the Helm charts and how everything works behind the scenes. So for this application, we have a Helm repo. So we have some specific variables for every environment. And yeah, like templates, I have a template for the certificate where I define how the cert manager will create the certificate. So I'm using the issuer, which is checking the DNS with Cloudflare. And yeah, I believe we are running out of time. So any questions?
There were also two parts where you had to interact manually with, first of all, modifying the, I think the envars in GitLab.
Yes.
And the other one, setting up the IP address in Cloudflare. Couldn't you automate this using Terraform?
So let's go back. So this service account actually wasn't there because I hadn't anything. So this is created at runtime. So you actually need to add it. But from what I know, the GitLab doesn't really have an API. So I really don't know how to place there this value. Ah, very good. And thank you very much.